checking in with Natalie Grant and her COVID battle. Oh my goodness. You look fantastic. I've been following you on Facebook and Instagram. I'm like, oh my gosh, she's so much better. How are you doing?
Thank you. I'm actually doing so well. I'm grateful. You know, this virus is so strange because it affects everybody just a little bit differently. And for me, I would say that my case was mild. There was about 2 days there where I was like, this is the worst body aches of my entire life. So it's probably good that you're isolated in those moments because you're like, ah! And so the body aches were pretty terrible, the fever. But I feel, except for I don't have my taste and smell back, which makes eating really not quite as fun. But other than that, it's just the fatigue, you know, like at some point during the day, you're like, I have to take a nap. But then I'm also like, but I'm also a mom and I feel like that regularly. So I'm not sure it's COVID or motherhood or I don't know. My husband has it and he's still struggling. So you guys can keep praying for him. His breathing's been affected. Mine wasn't affected at all. So again, it just, even like, you know, my husband and I, we're just handling it totally differently.
How are the girls? Do they have it?
They're healthy. Thank you, Jesus. They're healthy.
Okay.
And, you know, I was really concerned, especially about one of our twin daughters, Gracie, because she has pretty severe asthma. But thankfully, they're all completely healthy. So grateful.
And are you still having to quarantine? Like,
yeah,
are you still stuck
I can come out of isolation now because it's been 11 or 12 days now since the onset of my symptoms. It's kind of hard to keep it all straight, right? You're like, wait, so do I quarantine for 14 days or do I isolate? I think when you have symptoms, you have to isolate for 10 days from the onset of your symptoms. So yesterday I got to break out of prison, but my husband is still in it. So,
Amanda, that's terrible. But you can
go ahead. So Amanda, or not Amanda, Natalie, when you found out, when you took the test and it came out positive that you had COVID, how did you feel? Were you scared? And if so, what encouraged you? What got you through it?
Well, I think I had a range of emotions. You know, before I even took the test, I was probably like so many people where you're like, okay, I kind of have a cough. Like I have a bit of a cough or I have a tickle in my throat. Oh, it's just a cold or it's just allergies. So you take an extra allergy pill because you're like, this is going to really help my allergies go away. It's just allergies. And then that night I was like, I think maybe I can't smell things as well. I was drinking an orange sparkling water. And orange is like a really distinct smell. You know what I mean? And you can smell the orange water. And I'm like, I don't think I can smell the orange water as well. And you have that moment where you're like, am I losing my mind? Am I like, and you keep, then you're like, okay, give me a teaspoon of lemon juice. And I'm like, oh, I can't taste it. And that's when I was like,
you did? You had like that pure lemon juice?
Pure lemon juice.
Wow.
And I could tell it was sour, but I couldn't tell it was lemon. Do you know what I mean? So you're like, oh no, I think this is what they talk about. This is what they talk about. So I was scared at first. And then the next morning I had the test and it was a rapid test. And you're like, I felt like I was waiting for a pregnancy test where you're like staring at it, waiting for the thing to come up positive, you know, and you're like, ah. So it came up positive, and then I think I was annoyed. So I felt this range of emotion where I was scared to annoyed, like, I've been so careful. How did I get COVID? To then just being like, okay, we're going to make the most of it. And I think for me, the most difficult part was trying to figure out how to take care of my kids. When my husband found out he had it, we're like, okay, neither one of us can be in contact with our children, and yet they need somebody to take care of them. And, you know, I think that was the biggest struggle was figuring out how to do that in a safe way and feeling that fear that we're going to infect our daughter that's got asthma. And in that way, you're like, okay, you have to literally, it's the battlefield of the mind, which really is like everything. So I would like to say it was the word of God the entire time. It was probably the word of God and Hulu, but like a little bit of both, you know, like worship music, taking captive your thoughts and helping your kids take captive because they were afraid, and then going, yeah, but we can still sit outside. And we like set up a thing to watch a movie outside, and we were like 30 feet apart trying to watch. I'm trying to think right now what movie we were watching. I think it was Hocus Pocus. Hopefully that doesn't offend anybody, but I think it was Hocus Pocus we were watching, which was pretty safe. You know, you make the most of it. That's really all you can do in this season, is make the best of what is a seemingly terrible situation.
So did you have like your mom or somebody come and help, but you wouldn't even want to infect your mom? So you just kind of figured out a way to parent through doors?
Like all of my family's 2,500 miles away. All right. All of my family is 2,500 miles away from me in Seattle, and we live in Nashville. So it's at moments like this where you're like, my sister could just like flit on over to help me, or I wouldn't want to be with my parents. They're both in their 80s and have underlying health conditions. So that's hard enough to try to stay away and not go travel and see them. But just not having any family. We have an amazing church community though. So I have to tell you, we had so much food dropped off on the doorstep. I was like, I'm sure these are amazing brownies. I can't taste them, but but thank you.
Right.
The girls that liked them.
Oh my gosh. They were like, you getting sick.
God.
My girls were literally like, you getting sick is like the best thing ever. We've gotten amazing meals this whole time.
We notice you have a cozy fire, Natalie, in the background. We got to know, when are you putting up your Christmas tree?
They're already up.
Really?
Yes, thank you. I'm so proud.
It was the day
I want to do that.
It was the day after trick or treat day, harvest day, trunk or treat, whatever you want to call it. November 1st, our trees went up, and I was like, 2020 owes us the longest Christmas season ever.
Right. You know, we played, Natalie, Christmas music all day on Election Day. We said, you know what? We need something to get everybody in a good mood, bring people together. So we said, you know what? Let's play Christmas music all day. And it was a big hit.
I left you guys anyway, but like my love for you just went way up. That's the best answer ever to Election Day. Yeah,
exactly. That's what we thought.
We thought it was fun. I tried to just keep it going. I'm like, why are we going to stop? Let's just keep going. But they didn't go for that idea. Maybe you should make a phone call and get that happening, Natalie. I noticed you said trees. How many Christmas trees? It's more than one.
we have two, like I would call major trees. You know what I mean? But the girls all have a little mini tree in their room from Amazon.
Nice.
Thank you, Amazon. And then we have like a kid tree upstairs in their playroom. So we have several trees, but only two like real trees. You know what I mean?
Got it. Only two, no problem. Do you know how you got
all the ornaments the kids makes, you know?
There you go. Does everyone ask you this? I'm sorry if it's annoying, but do you know how you were exposed to COVID?
So I think I do. There's one of two options. My brother is a doctor, and so I get such great information from him. He probably hates the day he became a doctor because his family is calling or texting him at all times going, so what about, but he said typically nothing is like hard and fast when it comes to this virus, but typically if you're going to be symptomatic, you're going to show symptoms about 5 days after exposure. Some people 2 days, some people 10 days, but typically about 5 days after exposure. And I knew that I had a kidney infection. So follow me. I knew that I had a kidney. We'd been on fall break, and we didn't go anywhere like publicly. We went to like a little Airbnb house, and I knew that I had a kidney infection. So I went to a walk-in clinic, and I was like, I just need to get medicine. I know what a kidney infection is. So they're like, okay, well, you know, you got to go pee in a cup for a kidney infection. And I was so shocked by how many people were inside the doctor's office, because I was like, wait, aren't you supposed to be waiting in your car? And I said that to the girl, and she was like, well, there's only like 8 people, but they are all here for COVID tests. And I was like,
Wow.
and I left there, and I went home to my husband, and I was like, I know this is going to sound weird, but I have never felt more exposed to COVID than I did at the doctor's office.
Right.
So I think I got into the doctor's office. The very next morning, we also went to go vote early, and our voting place was out of hand gel. And you think that you're doing a really good job once you get back in your car. So I don't know. I think it was the doctor, though, because it was exactly 5 days after that I started showing symptoms. So I don't know.
Wow. Well, I'm so glad you're doing great. It's wonderful to see you doing great.
Thank you so
really
much.
Love it.
Thank you. Thank you for checking
So
in
here's
with me.
One of the things we love to talk about is bravery, and how it is not just something that you have in your DNA, but it is something that you regularly have to practice
Yeah.
to choose it over fear. Through this whole process, we like to call it, it's like a personal hashtag, get your brave on. How did you do that through this fight with COVID, or how do you do that?
You know, I think for me, one of the most important things I did through this COVID moment, but also through this, just through 2020, which I feel like has always been something I've tried to do, but is in like, you know, full mode in 2020, is cultivating an gratitude. And even during quarantine, you know, we gave space for our kids to talk about the things they were disappointed in. And I think that was really important, is instead of just trying to have the power of positive thinking all the time. I am an optimist by nature, but sometimes that can be so like, oh, I'm just going to, you know, make up stuff to make myself feel good. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about you recognize what you're going through, you take a moment and you own it. So I had, like my kids, I kept trying to make lemonade out of lemons the whole time. And I started to notice it was making them kind of angsty. And I was like, I need to give them a moment to be sad. Like they actually need a moment to be sad and to talk about the things that they're just ticked off about. And we gave them that moment. And honestly, just even letting them have space to cry and get angry was so healthy for them. But then you don't sit in that. You know what I mean? You take a moment, you're upset, you're sad, you talk about it, and then you start talking about the things you have to be grateful for. And I think for me in COVID, at the very beginning, I actually even did a post about it, about, listen, I'm not having a breathing problem. I'm not a single parent. You know, I've got a husband who's in this with me. I've got a church community that's taking care of me. So I think that the right in the middle of the word gratitude is attitude. And I think that when you have gratitude, it really does change your attitude. It's so hard to stay in angst and anxiety when you're constantly cultivating that attitude of gratitude. And for me, that is how I'm brave, is to constantly go, yeah, this sucks, but I'm going to take a moment and talk about what doesn't suck right now. I'm going to talk about this that's good and this that's good. And how else has God been faithful to me? How else has he shown up for me? Even if I don't feel it, it doesn't change the truth of it, of what he's done in the past. And that has changed really so much for me through this whole season.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Natalie. I love that. I really appreciate it. So there's a little fun we do on our show that's called the morning announcements, because our kids are still pretty much not going to school. Mine are hybrid. They go 2 days a week. It's crazy.
Wow. I'm so sorry, you guys.
So
all the teachers, any teachers that are listening, literally teachers, you are the heroes of our entire society. So thank you for all the evening teachers.
Back every day. Yeah.
I'm sorry I didn't
So
get
we're
you a
doing
good teacher appreciation gift.
No, they're going to be really good this year.
Forever from now on.
Virtual. I know. So we do our own morning announcements like we're the principal. So wondering if you could answer a couple questions. We're going to insert some of your answers to our morning announcements for Monday.
Perfect. I love it.
Okay, so one of the things that we do is we suggest a lunch, because as the morning announcements, the principal's like, today it's going to be like 60 degrees and on the lunch menu. So we're curious, what would be on the lunch menu for Natalie today? Your favorite lunch? Like a favorite one that you would make for your
I would have an option because school lunches, there should be options. So I would have an option of either a grilled ham and cheese, because that is my favorite with American cheese. Don't judge me. But when it comes to a grilled cheese sandwich, it has to have American cheese. So a grilled ham and cheese old school would be one of them, or a grilled peanut butter, honey, and banana.
Ooh.
And it's really good. And if it's so good, like peanut butter, honey, and banana is good. But when you put butter on the outside of the bread and grill that thing up, it is so good.
Yeah, that's definitely got to be a Southern thing, because I've never even heard of that.
And I'm not even Southern, but like, I promise you, you will not be disappointed. Try it, try it, try it. It's
I'm definitely going to try it. Really?
Good. It's so good. Okay, so those would be my options, because some kids might be allergic to peanut butter. So then you would say, okay, I'm going to do, but a grilled sandwich is always should be on the menu for lunch. Anything grilled. And I would choose a potato chip, because life is too short. Eat chips straight out of the bag. And then I would say put a piece of fruit in there to make you feel better about life, like an apple or an orange. And then finish it up with hot cocoa.
Oh man, she's got the whole menu, Amanda. Life is short. Eat chips. I love that.
Yes.
Hey, Natalie, the other thing we like to do is every day we like to entertain the kids with a dad joke. I usually tell some pretty awesome dad jokes. Do you have a mom joke, or maybe a joke that your husband likes to tell? What's a joke that you can entertain our kids with?
Oh, and if you would have given me, I would have had good ones, because we have like a whole book of them. But
I know.
Okay, so you probably
it's hard to come up with them.
You probably know this one, but I'm going to say it anyway, because it still makes us laugh no matter how many times we've heard. How do you make a tissue dance?
We don't know, Natalie. How do you make a tissue dance?
You put a little boogie in it.
Great delivery. That's all that matters, is good delivery.
We also do a fish fun fact of the day in our morning announcements. So do you have a Natalie Grant fact that people may not know about, or something?
I could probably coach pro football.
Really?
I'm really, really good at football. And people will go like, well, you probably don't really know because you're a girl. And that just charges me up even more. And so my team is the Seattle Seahawks, because I was born and raised in Seattle.
Oh,
so
man.
if you're there, where are you? Are you guys in California?
We're 49er fans.
I'm sorry for you.
Yeah, we're having a tough year.
I was gonna guess that. So how was that game last Sunday? Just curious.
Yeah,
it was terrible. Last was not good.
So I'm a diehard Seahawks fan, but I'm also like a football fan. So I think that if I could have another job, I think I could at least be the offensive coordinator.
Wow, that's impressive. That's cool.
Your next career. There you go.
Exactly.
We need more women.
You need more female football coaches.
We do. We need more females everywhere, in my opinion. Okay.
Yes.
Last thing we like to end people with is just like a little motivation for the day. Do you have like a favorite motivational quote or something that you're like, nope, like this is what motivates me to keep working on, worship and writing music and all that you do and motherhood and
Wow. What would that be? Outside of
life is short, eat chips. I love that.
that's it in a
that's a good
nutshell.
one. We could
Life is short. Life is short. So enjoy it. Don't fret the little things and don't even fret the big things. I think that would probably it. Like you hear people say, don't fret the little things, but I actually think we shouldn't be fretting the big things either, because fret does nothing but affect the person that's fretting the most.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't often change an outcome. So probably Proverbs 3, 5, and 6, trust in the Lord with all your heart and don't lean on your own understanding, but just in everything you do, acknowledge him and he'll work it out. He'll make your path straight. And I think when you just kind of are like, yeah, I'm getting a little bit angsty about that, and I'm just going to instead go, nah, my fretting's not going to change it anyway. So I'm just going to trust God and eat chips.
I like it. We're in.
That's perfect.
Awesome, Natalie. Did we cover everything, Matt?
We did. Natalie, before you go, though, on the day before Thanksgiving, most of the parades have been canceled, at least Christmas parades, like the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. They're not doing, you can't go watch that in person. So we had the amazing idea that we're going to do our own Thanksgiving parade on the radio. And we're going to feature some live music, a live Christmas song from Natalie Grant. And so here's what we want you to do. We want you to hear, and we'll record it, as we want you to say something like you're live, like you're outside performing. Say something like, hey, Sacramento, it's so great to be here. Happy Thanksgiving, Merry Christmas, something like that.
Perfect.
Do that.
And it's Sacramento?
Sacramento.
Perfect.
Yes. Go for it.
Hey, Sacramento, it's so great to be here. I'm Natalie Grant. Happy Thanksgiving and Merry Christmas.
Perfect.
Perfect.
That's fun, you
What
guys.
kind of things do you have on your Thanksgiving menu? What's your unique Thanksgiving menu food
Our
item that
unique
you serve for your
item?
family? Do you have different?
So we've been having
Yeah.
Thanksgiving with the same group of friends. He used to be my youth pastor and she used to be my youth choir director. And just along the way, they just became our best friends. So this year will be our 22nd Thanksgiving together. And we have our menu is a tradition. So it's the same foods every year. And for 22 years, we have had raspberry pretzel jello on the menu. And that always is a little bit strange to people. We have your basics like turkey and stuffing and mashed potatoes and ham and all of that. But raspberry pretzel jello, the crust is crushed up pretzels, butter, and powdered sugar. And then it's cream cheese and Cool Whip. And then it's raspberry jello on top. And it's game changing.
That sounds amazing.
It's so good.
It's not just a jello dish, it's like a pie, right?
But we have it with
Sounds
our
so
dinner so that you don't have to wait till afterwards.
Oh, that's cool. Man, Natalie, I've got to move to your house. You sound like you guys just have so much fun.
Come on over.
That's awesome. You're great. I
Aw.
appreciate you and all your time. I'm so glad to know that you're doing better.
Thank you so much. Thank you guys for having me on and checking in on me. And Amanda, you haven't been here long, right?
I haven't. No, we did a trip in with Caleb together.
I knew that.
Years ago.
I knew that.
Yes, and
So welcome.
in
I'm
September.
happy for you, but
a
I'm
lot.
really happy for the fish. So happy for
Thank
you.
you. We're having fun. Thanks
So
for
great.
asking. Take
Yeah.
All right. Bye.
Good to see you guys. Take care. Stay healthy. Bye.